This is the solution video for section 8.2, problem number 11. All right, so I have y equals sine x, y equals cosine x equals 0, x equals pi over 4 about the x-axis. So remember, we are finding the volume of the region created by these graphs and when we're revolving around the x-axis. So first thing I need to do is I need to draw a graph. All right, so I'm going to draw a graph. Y equals sine of x, right? So we know that y equals sine of x looks like this, right? But remember, that goes from 0 to 2 pi, right? So this would be at pi. This would be at pi over 2, right? So pi over 4 is actually just right there, okay? All right, then y equals cosine x. So I'm going to draw that in a different color just so we can see that better. Y equals cosine starts here and then goes down to 0, down to its minimum, back to 0, and then up to its max, right? And so remember, if it's at pi over 4, right, that's actually where those two things intersect, right? They intersect at pi over 4 comma root 2 over 2. All right, and then x equals 0. Remember, x equals 0, that would be this vertical line, and x equals pi over 4, that's actually right there. So what we're looking at is actually just this region in here, right? All right, so now we're revolving this around the x-axis, right? So we're revolving around the x-axis. So that means we want to use a dx rectangle, right? Now, I'm going to zoom in on that just so we can look at it a little bit more clearly, if I can. All right, and so we zoom in here, we realize that we're just looking at that region here. All right, and so we have the upper boundary, which is the cosine, the lower boundary, which is the sine, and the axis of rotation, which is 0, y equals 0, right? And so now we want to set up our disk or our washer method, right? So pi times the integral of parentheses with respect to x, and then I have big R squared minus little r squared. All right, so now big R, remember big R is the boundary that is furthest from the axis of rotation minus the axis of rotation. So we're going to take cosine x minus 0, and then little r is going to be the nearer boundary, which is the sine x minus 0. All right. Now we're going to integrate from left to right. So these were just given to us, 0 to pi over 4. All right. And so I'm going to simplify a little bit. I've got pi times the integral from 0 to pi over 4. We can just drop the 0. So we get cosine squared x minus sine squared x. And then with respect to x. Right. And so that is problem number 11.